Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the AFLW show for another week. Round 4. I think we're round 4.
Another week, another draw.
Oh my goodness. I'm joined tonight by the lovely Kira once again. Kira, how are you?
I'm good. I'm not as good as you. Before
No,
we get into the sadness of the AFLW show and whatever happened on the weekend, you're at the Brownlow.
I was. Through work, I was lucky enough to get offered to work, or volunteer, I should say, at this year's Brownlow, just escorting players to the red carpet and then standing at the doors, making sure people were going in and out at the right moment. So I was in the room when our beloved captain of our men's team won the Brownlow, may have let out a little bit of a squeal. And everyone I work with that knows me knows my love for the Carlton Football Club and my love of Patrick Cripps. And I did squeal very loudly. So it was
Well,
a really good moment.
I'm glad that brought you joy because I don't think the AFLW game would have.
No, it didn't. But we'll get into that. Let's kickstart the show. How to get crowds like that again?
Yes, well, if we were performing up to the standard that we should be, the crowds would probably come in a little bit larger, but we'll get into that.
They probably would. And we'll go straight into it. Like, let's just be honest here. What a game of complete confusion is what I'll call it. Complete confusion, because I turned it off. I was watching up until 3/4 time, but then I had to go out. So I turned it off, and then I opened up my phone to a message from yourself saying another draw. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Like, because we were what? It was like 4-2 at 3/4 time. I turned it off, and I'm like, cool. We're going to lose. Wednesday night's going to be hell. It's going to be an absolute mass review. And then to get a message from you saying it's a draw, I'm like, rightio, the streak continues.
Is this some sort of record?
I don't know, because technically we haven't lost. So your streak is on point, but I think this week it might come to an end, unfortunately.
I think so too. But yeah, no, it was a very strange one. I was at the pub in Sydney, ready to go to Sydney Collingwood, and it was on the screen, and I was very eagerly watching that. And halftime, I was like, oh my Lord, what is happening? We were 19 down at that stage, I'm pretty sure. Nothing was going right. We looked very, very poor in that first half, and I was very concerned for tonight. I was like, I don't even know what to say. I don't know. Because this is a mess. And then all of a sudden we fought back. Obviously it was a draw. I'm very happy that we fought back, but by the same merit, we should never, ever have been in the situation that we needed to fight back and be happy with a draw. Like, we should have been winning that game and winning that game. Oh, I have no words. No words.
No, and you were telling me something off air that I think the fans and the viewers would be interested in hearing, and it comes from our coach in his post-game press conference. Would you like to share what you shared with me before the show?
Yeah, so I don't have the quote on hand. I should have written it down word for word. I don't have the exact quotation, but he said something along the lines of, this draw was better than last week's draw because last week we kind of lost the game to draw. We should have won it. Whereas this game we were down and we fought back, and we should be somewhat, not happy, but the draw is a better outcome than a loss, which, correct. We've got 2 points, so that's better than none. But we should never, if you're listening, we should never have been in the situation that fighting back was necessary. We should have been keeping with them. Like, yeah.
And hearing those words come from your coach that, oh, this draw was better than the last draw. We shouldn't have drawn last week either against Port Adelaide. We should not have drawn last week. Should not have drawn this week. And from the first 3 quarters that I actually got to watch properly, I've been watching the last quarter in bits and pieces just before the show. Our kicking was shocking. I think we got a free kick, and instead of kicking it down the line, she kicked it off the side of her boot and it rolled out of bounds.
Basics.
It is. It's basic football that you train for week in, week out, and you can't even hit a target. Our ability to hit a teammate on the chest on a lead doesn't exist. And then you watch Freo over and over again throughout that game, chipping away, kicking it, hitting a target, hitting a player on the chest. And I can't put into words how bad that is. Like, you're playing at an elite level. The expectation is that you're up to the standard with skill. And no discredit to Fremantle. They played a phenomenal game. And really, they shouldn't have lost it from the position they were in.
No. Spot on.
Yeah.
In that, if you look at it in that light, then we've got some positive out of the game. But as you said, the basics were just horrendous. And that's what we said in the very first show. That's what we need this season. We're not expecting premierships. We're expecting you to nail out the basics. Like, that wins games of football. And on the weekend, they were not there. And it is concerning me a little bit. A lot.
You're not winning the ball when Kiara Bowers has only 11 disposals but tackles 17. 17 tackles. That is phenomenal. And credit to Mimi Hill and Abby McKay and Bree Moody and Skepper and all of our usual suspects that got over 10, 12 disposals. Good to have Gab Pound back in. Karen Peterson. But disposal efficiency for the majority of the team was non-existent. And I gave Elise O'Day credit last week for her efforts in the middle, but she's gone back to her kick out of the pack anywhere mode. And I don't like that in her game. Brilliant footballer, but just needs to, instead of hacking it out of the pack, have a look first. The boys do it and it shits me. The hack kick out of the pack absolutely shits me at any level. Like, I don't like it in regular football, like in the community level. Like, I hate hack kicks out of the contest because you're opening yourself up for a turnover, right? And the skill behind it is just kick and hope. Like, who are you kicking to? How many times have I yelled out at the football? People that sit with me will know. Who's that to? And it's
no
the
one.
same with women's. I'm like, literally, you can ask my husband. I'm sitting here going, who the fuck was that to? Who is that to? Who are you kicking to? And if I'm saying this over and over again, there's a fundamental error somewhere in this here. I can't quite put my finger on what's going wrong.
And we've mentioned this multiple weeks, so why has no one in the coaching staff, and that doesn't just lie on half, that lies on all of the coaches, why has no one pulled her or any other of the players aside and said, stop just hack kicking it to no one because it's not doing us any favors? Or is it like, are they saying just get it out? Which if they are, then they shouldn't be. But why has this not been fixed? We're in round 4 going into.
I know. I love you, Natalie.
On that.
You are too. That's why we sit together. Because if one can't see it, the other one can. But you're right. Like, if we haven't been able to identify what's gone wrong after 4 games, there's something seriously going wrong. And the scoring shots that we did have, the 5 goals that we did have, they actually listened to me. It's like they got the message. They kicked the ball deep into 50, took marks and had shots. And This is the problem. I too many times did I see the ball get chipped to half forward, and then go nowhere. Push the ball forward. Push if you can't get it there by foot, you get it there any other way you can. That is the only time that it's acceptable to hack the ball is when you're hacking it forward in your forward 50.
And
Because
someone else, just in the game plan, have someone in the goal square so that when they hack it forward, there's someone there to get it.
yes,
Like,
that's right. And this overuse of handball is really starting to annoy me because it's all well and good if you're in space. If you're running into space and you're linking up with handballs, fantastic. But if you're just handballing to someone who is literally less than 2 meters to your right or to your left, what's the point of the handball?
you're not getting anywhere.
You're not. You're putting them under the pump. You're just trying to take the pressure off you. So you go, oh, that's their problem. Becomes their problem now. No. If you're going to handball within 5 meters of each other, that's worth a 10-meter, 15-meter kick up the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Way too many handballs. There was a stat they were saying during the commentary that we're ranked number 1 for the most handballs. I can see why. Because literally every chain is handball, 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 handball. But
And then
they
get
handball
crunched
it.
by the opposition.
What is this? Handball over the head. What is that? We get
Oh,
taught in juniors that don't do it. Or these loopy ones like this. No, just don't
we
do
do
it.
that all the time. I've really noticed that this season. We do that a lot. And when you get it right and when someone happens to be behind you, it looks really cool and it looks like you've got a heap of skill and this whole master plan. But most times it does not go right.
We're not
And
getting
then-
it right. That's the problem. We're not getting it right.
Exactly.
We're trying to be too fancy.
Mm.
And we're getting caught out. And teams have cottoned on to the way we play. And that's why for the first 3 quarters, Freo were running all over the top of us.
Mm.
They ran over the ground, Freo. They were huge credit to them. They came out of the blocks wanting to win that game.
Yeah, and if your game plan is just handball and handball, your opposition is just gonna be opposition to opposition, and then they're gonna run with you as soon as you get the ball, tackle, and you're goners. Like you can't actually move anywhere when that's the only element that you're using 24/7.
That's right. And this comment here is correct. If you're going to handball, at least make it to the chest. Handball into someone's feet isn't going to help anyone, like especially Bree Moody. If you handball to her feet, do you honestly think she's going to be able to pick it up? Probably, because it's Bree Moody. But you get the point. And it drives me nuts. It absolutely drives me nuts when we know we've got the players, because majority of those players are senior players. So they've done this before.
Yeah,
But
they know what they're doing.
Make fundamental errors. That's where I draw the line. It's like you're a leader of this football club. If you can't hit a target 15 meters away, you shouldn't be playing at their level.
Nope.
And I love our girls to death. Like I love our girls to death, but they need to be able to strip it back.
And then I question whether that comes down to training standards. Like, what are they doing during the week? Because if you can't even do the very, very basics of AFL, what are you training? What are you discussing in your team meetings? Because I'm not seeing anything change week to week. And when it's not working and you're not winning, something needs to give. And I'm not seeing anything give at the moment.
No, you're correct. It is, and it's true. And Andy's right. Handball should be in front so the player can run onto it. If we're trying to do these turns and handball to someone who's behind us, unless you're facing the wrong way and they're prepared to kick the ball long, and you're right, what are they doing? Like you see all these photos online of what they're doing at training, and it's all well and good if you can execute at training. My coach has said this to me all season. What we train tonight and how we set our standards at training is how we're going to play on the weekend. And the nights that we trained really well, we hit the ball hard, we handballed well, we kicked well, we marked well. We won the game on the weekend because we were in that mindset. It's all down to mindset. Once you have one bad kick, that's going to play on your mind, and you're going to every kick after that and every handball after that, it's just going to keep playing on your mind.
Spot on.
Natalie's correct. We're a 7 season in. Skills should be better. And we're not the only ones that are seeing that there's fundamental skill errors here. I guarantee you, everybody watching is going to be on the same page as us right now. Because
if you follow AFL, you turn on our game for even a quarter, even 5 minutes, you can see that our skills are not good enough. And that's on the girls, but it's also on the entire women's department. Like, what is going on in between these four walls? Because it's actually getting so frustrating.
Can you please report back to either Kira or myself, Chris, on what they do at training on Tuesday night so we can actually say it on the show next week?
Yes, please.
That'd be great. But stripping all of that back, looking at the positives, Imogen Milford looks like she's going to be a really, really good marking option for us up forward. Her ability to find the footy and lose her opponent was really good on the weekend. She laid really good tackles. Skepper is another one who I think is going to be a really good small option for us. She was nominated for Rising Star this week, which is something that I think is fantastic for not only for her, but for the football club as a whole.
We have a win.
We have one win. And another one for me, I think Annie Lee is also starting to really find herself in the game. And it's going to take time for these young girls to gel and to become and blossom as at this level. I'm more focusing on the older players that should know better. Really, you can kind of forgive the first year players for the way that they're playing at the moment, given it's their first full season at this particular level. And I've spoken to someone who's played at VFL level and has taken that next step into the AFL level this year. And she plays for Essendon, and she said to me that because I saw her the week after they played us, and I go, "How are you feeling?" She goes, "Oh, I'm more sore than I was playing at VFL level because the intensity has just stepped up a level." So I can appreciate that it is a harder level at the elite level, but you've got there for a reason.
Exactly right.
For a reason. Like, I can sit here being a community football player and rant on about all these different things around football, but these girls have been drafted for a reason.
And on that, our first year players, Skepper, I have some numbers from you. Thank you to Carlton Blues fans on Twitter. They're elite. They give me all this information. But Skepper, on average, is our number one player for score involvements, inside 50s, meters gained, marks, and kicks.
Says a lot, doesn't it?
That's 5 different subcategories that Skepper is our number one player in, based on her averages. Now, all credit to Skepper because that's unreal. And I think we've found an absolute star in the making there. But what is that saying about the rest of our players?
That's what I mean. Like, I guarantee you they are drafted for a reason. So they've obviously done something right in their career to be drafted to an AFL club. But if you're not up to the standard, I can't say any more to you. I really can't. I really can't. And it's frustrating. It's so frustrating. It's just...
It's frustrating because we love them so much, and and I know we've said this every episode that we know the competition has changed. So we understand that, it gets harder each year as the competition gets better. But just to see where we were only, say, 3 years ago to where we are now, that's why it's so frustrating, because we love them so much. And for so long, I can't speak on behalf of everyone, but for a lot of people I know, we were holding our caps on the women winning a premiership before the men. And now that's
I think it's going to be the other way around.
Now that looks so far from happening. So that's why it's so frustrating.
No, and this is another point. Could not agree anymore. We looked so unfit, and I made the comment to one of my colleagues today that because he saw me watching the game while I was at work, and he's also a blue bagger, and I go, if you look at the way Freo are running, and I think Libby Birch made the comment, our players were coming off gassed because Freo were running us backwards and forwards across that ground.
And guess what? We got to play Libby Birch this weekend.
Yes, we do. We'll get to the Melbourne game. But if our players are gassed, it comes back to Natalie's comment. What are we training? Like some of these players, well, in fact, pretty much all of the list would have been playing some form of football all year this year. And you can tell who our more fitter players are.
So we're lacking skill and fitness. Great. The two fundamentals of sport.
I answered this one before, Taylor. Hello. 17 tackles she laid, Kiara Bowers. Absolute freak of nature. And I warned everybody about her last week. Anyway, moving into some injury news now. It was remiss of us to miss Maddie Guerin last week when we were talking on our show. Has done an ACL, very, very much a huge loss. Could have used her on the weekend, to be frank. And it's her second ACL, I believe. And we wish Maddie all the best in her recovery. And I know she's going to come back bigger and stronger. I spoke to Mimi Hill about it last week, and she told me that Maddie made the joke that when she comes back, she'll be able to kick further on her right. So that's what we like to hear, that she's up and about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Big loss, but just wrap our arms around her. We're wishing her all the best for her recovery, and hopefully she does a doc, comes back bigger and better.
Dominates. And now moving to our injuries from this weekend, and I mentioned it to you, I think it was yesterday. So we've lost Phoebe McWilliams for the remainder of the season. After she kicked her goal on the weekend, she came off rather gingerly, and scans have revealed she has a stress fracture in her foot. It was sustained during the second quarter of the game. She didn't return. She underwent scans upon return to Melbourne, and it's ruled her out for the remainder of the year. Darcy Vesio has suffered a broken finger.
First game.
They consulted a specialist and will undergo surgery, which was, I believe, today. At this stage, they're expected to just miss the one. Huge loss against Melbourne this week. Could have used Vesio a bit further up the ground, in my opinion. They are not. They're not doing too good at this point in time. Amelia Villado and Paige Trudgeon will miss as well. So that's 4. They both had concussions and are now have to have a mandatory 12 days rest as per the AFLW concussion protocols. Head of Carlton women's football program, Brett Munro, said the group's collective mindset to handle whatever comes their way should hold it in good stead. Well, jolly good to you.
I'm glad. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. I think I was okay with losing a lot of players in the men's because I genuinely believed that they believed in the next man up mentality, but I do not feel anywhere near the same for this team. I think we're struggling with our best 22. So what's going to happen when we have our best 14, 15? Yeah.
Yes. Well, in saying that, Christina Bernardi has been elevated to Carlton's primary AFLW list as of today. She's a former All-Australian who was an inaugural player for Collingwood who's also played for GWS and Richmond. She's 32. There's hope for me yet, Kira.
Well, you're going to get a call up with all these injuries.
I reckon. She was a train-on player during Carlton's pre-season. So under AFLW rules, clubs can elevate a train-on player to their squad when a minimum of 24 players are available for selection. So given our extensive injury list, she has been elevated to our senior list, and this may answer your question, Amanda. Probably Christina Bernardi.
Yeah.
I would also like to see my girl Serena Gibbs get a go.
Please, we're screaming. Like, please, Carlton, do it.
We have all of these players. We have Serena Gibbs. We have Poppy. We've got Jess Jones. We've got Charlotte Hammonds. We've got Nat Plain. All, especially Nat Plain, experienced players, right? Give them a crack. Got nothing to lose.
Absolutely nothing to lose. And we don't really have any other options either. So
No.
we've just got to do it now. It's time.
It's beyond time.
Yeah. Well,
like,
that too.
I'm expired some time ago.
Expiry date.
Literally 2020 was the expiry date of this. I tell you that much. It's good to see they're rewarding players that trained on with them. So I just hope that she gets a go, not just elevated to the list, just for the sake of it. I hope she gets a go because I've seen her play and she is really, really good at her craft. So if we can get her into the forward line with DV when they're back, let's hope the damage isn't too great.
Absolutely. And they'll be a level head for us. Older, as you said, more mature, more experience, can cope with a little bit more pressure.
Yes.
I think it will actually be really good for this team. I'm not disappointed at all by this. And I'd suggest that they've elevated her this week. She'll probably play, unless they just give her a week of, wrapping her head around the fact that she's been elevated. But I'd suggest she probably plays, and I don't think there's anything to lose. So fingers crossed she does well and kicks a few goals.
That's it. And moving on into this weekend's game on Friday night, they've got a plethora of games this weekend, starting, I think, tomorrow, I believe. Where are we? Round 5. Yeah. Tomorrow, first game is the Western Derby. So 3:00 our time, followed by Cats and Saints down at GMHBA. So that's Geelong's first. They'll probably get a good crowd to that one, actually, given that the grand final is on Friday and people will probably make the trek down the freeway to the city for the grand final parade. But there's 4 games on Friday. As part of the footy festival, which I'm working at on Thursday and Friday. They've got 2 games at the Swinburne Centre, so a double header, and 1 across the road at the AIA Centre. So there's going to be 3 games happening at the one time, all in the massive hub of the MCG. So we've got the Kangaroos and the Doggies from 12:40 on Friday at the Swinburne Centre, followed by Hawthorn and Sydney at 5:10. And then you've got the Anzac Day clash between Collingwood and Essendon at 3:10 at the AIA Centre. That one is free entry for those that are interested in going. Probably none of us. And we play Melbourne on Friday night at Icon Park at 7:30. I want to say and encourage everyone to go if you've got nothing else to do on your Friday night. I feel like we need to rally around the girls a little bit, given what's happened. So if you are available and you are free, do go.
Public holiday, so
yes, no excuses. Grand final day the next day. It'd be a good opportunity for everyone to go and give the girls a bit of support on the Friday night. But let's talk about Melbourne, shall we?
I'm so excited.
For those that were at the Carlton Melbourne practice match some time ago now, I think it was round 22 of the men's season. It was the curtain raiser to the boys. It was a bloodbath.
It was really, really bad.
It was an exhibition of excellence, I want to say, on Melbourne's part. They are a powerhouse of a football club. They're up there with your Adelaides and your Brisbanes. That's where you want to be. That's where we should be after 7 seasons. But full credit to the team at Melbourne for, one, retaining their players. So they've retained Lily Mithen, they've had Libby Birch, Karen Paxman, Daisy Pearce. The core
They've done
group
an
of their
incredible
team,
job.
yeah, they're doing something right down at that football club. And a lot of them have been around for the 7 seasons. And I'm scared.
I'm very, very scared. But in saying that, Melbourne are coming off a loss.
Yes, they are. That shocked me a little bit. But no, Melbourne beat St Kilda.
Oh.
Yeah,
Did
Melbourne beat, but they won by 26 points.
Oh, I'm losing my mind then. Oh, well, then they're not coming off a loss, and I'm very scared. Now I want to cry. That was my only hope I had. I must have just read it wrong, and now I'm very sad and very scared and very, very worried. Wow.
Yep. Welcome back to the worry. You can join me in the worry.
Welcome back to reality.
Welcome back to the worry. Because I'm just having a look. Yeah, no, they round 2, they won by 2 points. Round 3, they won. Yeah, they beat St Kilda. We're in round 4, aren't we? Round 4. Hang on. Where is round 4? No, they did lose. My apologies. I do.
Oh,
I take that.
I thought I was losing my mind.
They lost to Brisbane though, so the other powerhouse. So it's not really.
It's not really a loss.
Like, yes, it is what it is. But in saying that, they absolutely are an absolute powerhouse. Brisbane across the board were like, Ellie Anderson had 22, Emily Bates had 16, so Sophie Conway had 17.
That was
Taylor Hickey.
I didn't catch that game, but that would have been an absolute cracker. That is 2 really super talented, fit, and skillful teams who went at it, and I could just imagine that game. I actually might watch it after we finish recording, but
yeah,
I'm
watch back too, just for the sake of it. Taylor Harris didn't play, so
no, he didn't.
Could have been the difference, but like Kate Hoare, 16, Lily Mithen, 23, Karen Paxman, 20. Daisy Pearce is now playing a smaller role up forward, 9. But Charlotte Wilson, 4. So this is going to be Charlotte's first game against her old club. I'm sad. I am so sad.
So we're winning then. Same as Essendon.
My God, are you actually going to say
I'm
that?
Calling it. We're winning.
On live? Okay, We're winning. Okay, everyone, we're winning.
Same as Essendon. Same vibes.
You're getting the same vibes as the Essendon game. Wow. If we win,
said in the comments.
If we win, my Lord.
We will be having a party here next Wednesday.
Lid will be off.
We're winning the flag if we win.
Look, anything less than a 30-point loss is a win in my book.
We're winning.
Okay. We're winning according to you.
I'm a very superstitious person, and the fact that we haven't lost, like we've drawn, but we haven't lost when I've said we wouldn't, when I've said we'd win, is really messing with me, and I just can't. I'm scared that I don't have any impact on the game or their ability to win, but I'm just gonna, until they prove me wrong, I'm just gonna keep at it.
Okay, fam, you've heard it here first. We're winning this weekend. All the more reason for you all to get there to cheer us on, because we're going to need all the support we can get. Melbourne supporters will come from left and right because, you know, they've got nothing better to do now because ski season's over. So they'll probably come and watch their girls. So I want to try and get as many Carlton supporters there to prove Kira right.
I just want to see Carlton supporters there so that they know that we care. If we want them to care and run out there each week, and run harder and try harder and do everything that we're asking of them in this show, we also need to give them a little bit of support. We are the 24th man on this team, and we've got to pay our role too. So even though they haven't been performing the way that we want them to, and they're frustrating us a lot, it would mean a lot to them if we got down there and supported them. So let's cheer them on.
100%. Even if it is going to be a painful watch.
Yes. Even if it ends in absolute agony, we still stood there and did our part in the game.
And they'll appreciate having a crowd there. And it's a Friday night. It's, nothing else to do on a Friday. Go watch a couple of AFLW games. Mosey on over to Icon Park. Watch our girls. Give them a cheer. They'll feed off our energy, just like our boys do. Our boys feed off our energy. It's something terrible.
They say it in every interview.
Yep. When we're up and about in the crowd, they're up and about on the ground. So I just hope that, you're right. Prove me wrong. Like I personally can't see us getting within a bull's roar, but I'm going to chew up your little positivity and keep it with me and keep thinking about it every time I'm watching the game going, oh, Kira said we're going to win. Because
I do not take any responsibility.
I want you to be
I don't take any responsibility for people's pain after the game if we do not win. I'm saying that right now. But, I think let's get behind them because as we've mentioned, once again, as we say this every show, it's a very short season and it will be over before we know it. We'll blink and the season will be gone. So let's get behind them while we've got the opportunity to.
Well, we're halfway through the season after this week. It's only 5 weeks to go. I mean, the first 5 weeks have flown. But I love everyone here is oh God, let's hope let's not let this happen. But everyone is all on board the Kira train. So toot toot, it's better than the Teague train.
I was just about to say, can we not have trains here, please?
Sorry, too soon?
Yes, too soon.
Too soon. But no, I honestly, truly hope that we do. And I'd love to see someone go to Karen Paxman because every time I watch her play football, she's got it on a string. Like it is literally in her hands with a string in her pocket, and she doesn't put a foot wrong with the football. Like she touches it and wherever it goes, it hits a teammate. On the very rare occasion does she not hit a target, I stand there and go, what just happened? Because she's one of those players that's been playing for a very long time, so she knows her football. And she's taken all of those Melbourne youngsters under her wing, same as Daisy Pearce. They've just taken them under their wing and they are flourishing at that football club. So I just want to see someone go to Karen Paxman and lock her down.
Lock
down Lily Mithen. Lock down Kate Hoare. If it means you don't get many disposals, so be it.
So be it. I'd rather a win than half the team have 20 disposals. Like disposals don't mean anything. Disposals don't win you premierships.
Can we offer her a 1-year deal?
Legit. We're becoming list managers. Coach, Shan's going to play. We're just going to take over.
It's happening. Like someone today in one of the group chats I'm in said about Christina Bernardi, and my response was, "That's not how you spell my name." I had to make a funny out of it, but no, Thomas is right. Like she will be that player that hangs out the pack and gets the handballs out and kicks the ball long. I see it time and time again. Stephanie Chiocci's another one where they get the ball out to her and she kicks it.
She's unreal.
We get the ball out of the pack and we go, you take the ball. No, you take the ball. Oh, here, you take the ball.
And then let's kick it to nowhere.
Yeah, kick it to nowhere and we have a lasso and it goes back the other way. Or I applaud the fact that they try and when they hit the wing, try and hit a target in the middle. Love the enthusiasm. person in the middle has to take the mark or not kick it to the opposition. So it's going to be interesting because Melbourne, going back to that game, that practice match, I think we had rotating players and we weren't at our full strength, but they smashed us by like nearly 80 points, I'm pretty sure.
Let's not let that happen again.
No. And I hope that there is footage of that game and Daniel Harford and his team have watched it thoroughly on repeat all week or watch the Melbourne-Brisbane game to see how Brisbane have done it, because I feel like that's lacking. We're not watching what other teams are doing to the teams that we're playing next. We need to be able to understand how that team either played them and beat them, or why did they lose?
Yeah, what did the other team do to them to ensure that they didn't win? Absolutely.
Correct. So I hope that's happening this week, because the Melbourne game is a danger game. We're probably going to go, what is it, 1, 1 and 2? And if we lose, it's 1, 2 and 2.
Yeah.
So I can't keep track of where we're at, to be perfectly honest, with all these draws happening in the world. But no, Lewis, welcome back. I haven't seen you in a while. I just want to see good contested footy and making it hard for Melbourne to use the ball. Exactly. Making smart decisions. This is what we've been saying for the last 3 weeks. Literally, just make a contest of it. Put pressure on. We play our best footy when we're pressuring the ball carrier, and we've seen it. Like,
Amanda.
We both looked at the same time. Because Freo's pressure was insane in that first half. They fell away towards the end, which is fair. But if we can play a high-intensity pressure game and maintain it for 4 quarters, you'll get your wish. Because Melbourne don't do pressure. And that's probably what Brisbane did to them. Brisbane like to squeeze the ground, and they like to squeeze the opposition into submission pretty much.
And I know we all want the win and we shouldn't be settling for not wins, but at the end of the day, just make us proud. Melbourne are an unreal club. So if you go out there and play 4 quarters of decent footy, you're using your skill to the best of your ability, you're trying really hard, you're putting on pressure, and what we see is something. Like, you're giving us something. Then next week when we're reviewing the loss, we're not going to be screaming frustrated like we are the last 2 weeks, because you've actually shown something. You can't win every game of football, but we need you to show something. And then
we
please
need the
win.
skill level to be better.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Execute your kicks. Hit a target. If you can't hit a target, put the ball in front of your teammate so they can run onto it. Handball with precision, and actually look where you're handballing it. Don't handball it to the person less than 5 meters away from you. Handballing is no good. Like, handballing is good if you're in space and you're wanting to link up. But when you're under pressure, no, don't do it. Coach Shannon has spoken.
Chris, also for 1 week, can the forward line not be playing in the back line when it's in our 50? I'd love that a lot.
Where I'm finding that our forwards are starting either behind, or if the ball hits the deck, they're non-existent. The ball goes in there and it's out just as quick as it went in. Even if we do kick it accurately into our forward line, where I tell them the drop zone is, but where are our small forwards?
I noticed that round 1. That was my biggest red flag. Biggest red flag from round 1 was that our forwards were getting too far up the ground, and I'm sure that would be a coaching direction.
It's a game plan. It's a game plan direction, for sure.
Yeah. And it's to flood our back line so that we can defend, but it's not working for us, because then when we have a turnover, we can't get into our forward line quick enough, and then we don't score. And not to end on a negative, but Nick Wishart did put out a tweet saying that in 13 quarters of footy, 5 of them were scoreless. And that's damning. We can't let that happen this week.
That's huge. What a stat. My God. But this comes back to me, what I've been saying for this entire season, is that when we do go forward, we need to actually find a target. But you're right. If they're pushing too far up, we're already in a defensive mindset. we're defending for 4 quarters. Where's the
Instead of
attack?
attacking.
Where's the
Let's
attack?
hope we attack this week.
Have
We
to.
need to.
And literally, what I'm taught when I play, when I'm up forward, whenever I'm up forward, because it's a rarity at the moment, but when I am up forward, we always say line. You move one line ahead. Not all of you run up and go past the center line. Like your half forwards move to the defensive 50. To the middle of the ground, to your center line. Your half forwards move to the center line, and your pockets and your full forward move to the top of the 50. When that ball comes out of that back line, you hightail it back to your forward line, and you only have to run one line. I'm finding at the moment that our half forwards are at our defensive 50 and our full forward and pockets are at the center line. So they've got to run 2 lines back. And by the time the ball gets down there, it's congested in the middle. Ball gets down there. Their defenders don't follow because they're smart and they know that the ball's going to come there and we're going to take an easy, uncontested defensive mark and get the ball right back out. And the times that we didn't do that is when our forwards only moved up one line. And we scored. What a shock. I rest my case.
This week will be very, very interesting.
Sums it up for me.
Me too.
I don't get paid to do this. I don't get paid to go to the football. I don't get paid to watch the football. I don't get paid to play football. I just watched it enough to know when there's errors. And there's a big one, big gaping one. And it's our forward line. And if we're not scoring goals, we're not winning games. And when you come up against teams like Melbourne, whose defense who kick goals and defend well and have one of the best elite midfields in the comp.
So what we're saying is they're just a great team all around.
Precisely. If you can't score against them and you play that game style and that style of play, I wish you luck. That's all I can say. And I don't want to end it on a negative note. So let's just go back to what a great night I had at the Brownlow. And
Chad had a great night. Kira's saying we're going to win.
What a way to end the show. But thank you, Kira. I know it's hard watching the girls, and I can appreciate that it's actually turning a lot of people off. But we appreciate you guys being here, riding the wave with us. We love all your comments. We love interacting with you guys. We love interacting with each other. But no,
what Shan just said. Honestly, what
Thank
Shan just said, couldn't have said it better. We actually love all of you and everyone in the comments that keep interacting and commenting with us. Thank you. You make this show what it is, like us interacting with you and having a conversation with you. It's super cool. So let's stay on the ride. Let's stick behind the girls, stick behind this team, and hopefully we can somehow pull off a win on the weekend.
Fingers crossed. I'm going to channel your positivity. We'll meditate beforehand. But no, have an amazing night, everybody. Thank you heaps for joining the show. Up the baggers, as Natalie said. Get to Icon Park. Hope to see you there. I'm going to try my very best to get there if I can. If not, I'm sure you all cheer loud for me. We'll see you same time next week. Fingers crossed it's after a win. Up the baggers.